Hi, I'm Tracy with Freckled Fairy Upcycle. Welcome to my channel. This is a place where I create wearable art from thrifted, vintage, or other textiles. I hope you enjoy. So I'm gonna make myself a stamp. It's basically called a Linocut to use in a design that I'm working on right now. So I got this material, I'll link it in my caption, but it's kind of like almost like an eraser type material. I don't think it is an eraser, but it's kind of like that. And then I have my trusty Sharpie marker, and then I have this tool. So I'm going to draw my design with this, and then use this tool to scoop out the parts that I don't want to print when I stamp the fabric. And yeah, so that's it. You're going to want to write it backwards, so when you print it, it prints the right directions. And then with this tool, you are scooping off or scraping off the parts that you don't want to print. So what I typically do is draw my design out in black, and then I know I'm going to leave the black alone and scoop out all the pink part. So when you're doing this, go slow and steady. It's easy to slip and take a big chunk out of your rubber block. So I just take my time, and it's actually kind of satisfying. So I'm going to use this thrifted shirt for my applique patch. So I'm just going to cut the arm off to use so that I have a little more fabric left over to use on a different project. I'm not quite sure how this is going to work. This fabric does have some polyester in it, I believe, and it is textured, but we'll just see what happens. So I'm just using a paint palette to put my ink on, and then I'm using what's called a brayer. That's the roller tool to put the ink on to the Linocut. You want to put the ink on in different directions to make sure you get it fully covered, but you don't want to put too much ink on there or it'll slip and you won't get a nice print. So now I will put the fabric on top of it. That way you have more control over where it's going to land. I do this with my paper as well. And then you're going to rub gently all over the design to hopefully get all the ink on there and your design show up. Well, as I feared, I think the texture was too much for this stamp. It didn't completely cover on the words like I really wanted it to. I can see them, you can't tell in the video, but they're not as dark as I wanted. So I'm just going to use a paintbrush with my ink to fill in the letters. Well, I learned some lessons on that project, which is good. The fabric that I want to use actually has a texture on it, so the stamp couldn't get the ink on as well as I wanted it to. Because on my test page, it looks great, but it's paper. So next time I use it, I'll do it on smooth fabric instead. But I really wanted this striped for my project, so I'm just gonna go with it. I did go in with a paintbrush and clean up the letters so they're a lot more visible than they were. But I'm dirty, I'm wearing white. Why I did this, I don't know, but I'm gonna go get cleaned up. Once your ink is dry, you can heat set it with an iron. I usually use some parchment paper on top of it and no steam. And then here I actually tea stained it just to take some of the white down a little bit. I wanted it to be a little more vintage looking, so that worked out well. So I'm going to use this on the back of a shirt that I'm upcycling. I actually have a video tutorial on how I did the upcycle, but this beauty is going to go on the back, and I'm just placing it kind of where I want it. And then once I sew it on, I'll just do a big zigzag around the edge. Don't forget to subscribe and like my video, and make sure you follow along for more DIY upcycle ideas. Also, I'd love to see your creations. Follow me on social media at Freckled Fairy Upcycle and tag me in your photos and videos so I can see what you're up to. My channels are on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. I hope to see you there.